need to control those three aspects and do it to the best ability of what the films can do themselves.
Absolutely well said, because it is. It's the whole package who've been in the industry. And the people out there who are not sure how to successfully sell, or if they have questions about generic things, pretty much you can ask anybody on our team and they'll give you an answer.
We were very lucky that we were able to keep a heavy amount of film on us. So when that did happen, it didn't really affect us at all.
Quality, and also, I mean, we look at, like we chatted earlier, and I've said it at the Panorama Pro meeting, I love being a partner with a dealer who wants to not only grow their business, but help us grow the awareness of window film in the world, but also the name Solar Gard. And if that is both common goals of the dealer and us, which it is for us, we're going to be great partners.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Born in Tint with the Miller Brothers. I'm excited to be here with my co-host, my brother, Josh.
How's it going, everybody? Today we have a very special guest for you. We've got Steven Schroer from Solar Gard, Regional Manager of the Americas.
Well, thanks for coming on. We really
Thanks for having me.
No, the fact that you stopped out here just to kind of come on, this is like, for me, it shows to me how much you guys are committed as a company to your partners. It really means a lot to us. We wanted to have you on because we want to kind of expand, just the knowledge of architectural when it comes down to it, and that's kind of one of the reasons that we've kind of been hammering home on here is expanding what you can and can't do, what projects you can help on. Safety film being one of them, not just expanding. A lot of people are starting to understand what safety film is, but unfortunately there is a lot that gets put out there that is said to be one thing, like when you hear ballistic or you hear
misleading and dangerous.
Yes,
right.
Bulletproof or however they want to put it. And then it's like, safety film is great at what it does, as long as you are prompting and setting the expectation. This is what it's going to do for you. So, I mean, like one of the big programs that I know you guys have is the certification.
Yep, Armor Code certification program. And you're absolutely right. Establishing expectations for window film in general is key, because you don't want to mislead people. We've got into a little bit of a hurt in Florida with the Attorney General I mentioned last night. A couple of us manufacturers went to the Attorney General. People were misleading the public, putting on 2 and 4 mil as hurricane-approved film. Really got window film a bad name, so we fought that. And so one of the results of that a few years later is the Armor Code certification program, which basically indicates that the installer who is certified knows not only how to install it, but what its capabilities are. What are the certifications that come with that film? So there's the perception that they will not mislead the public to say a 2 mil is hurricane approved or a 4 mil is ballistic approved, because there's no such thing.
Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't even know there was a 2 mil.
Yeah.
It's just regular film.
2 mil clear. Yeah. It was geared towards a certain market. It didn't do real well. I don't even know if we carried it anymore, to be honest.
I think actually, look back, I might have, a sample of it, because I know that was one film that we could print on for maybe that application. But yeah, I didn't know that anyone was actually trying to push a 2 mil.
Well, the intent was for the states that have zero window film on, they want to protect UV protection for the drivers, trucks, for example. They put it on their windows, their windshields. It doesn't deflect. It doesn't reduce the VLT or anything like that. And it gets rid of all the UV. So it protects the drivers.
That's true.
Yep.
And covering the basis, at least covering the UV basis when it comes down to it. Because if I'm not mistaken, all the films that are produced, all the clears, everything, all have 99.9% UV.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a question I get constantly is UV is, I want to protect fading, but then also that comes with the caveat with which I didn't know to begin with early in my career, that I always just thought it was UV rays, and then actually being brought to my attention, beyond UV rays, you need to account for heat and you need to account for visible light. So it's like if you want to actually control all fading or anything that the sun's damaging itself, you need to control those three aspects and do it to the best ability of what the films can do themselves.
Absolutely well said, because it is. It's the whole package. It's total solar energy rejected or solar heat gain coefficient. They're derivatives of one another, and they all equal up how much heat is coming off of the sun into either a window or a building or what have you. And you really need to show the public that you need to show them what characteristics of those two main characteristics of what they are, how much they block. Those are the keys. Infrared may have higher heat, but it's not the entire picture. It's not UV even gives you heat. Absorption, different types of things happen when the energy hits the glass. you got absorption, you got going right through, you've got reflection. So there's all these different factors, and the more educated a dealer gets, the more trust that a consumer will have in that dealer to know they're really solving the problem.
Oh, that to me, that's our biggest gain of being a panorama dealer is that, because that's where I started kind of picking up on the knowledge. I think the first panorama convention or meeting I went to, I want to say it was 07, 08. It was in San Diego. I think we golfed at Pebble. Not Torrey Pines.
Torrey Pines,
Torrey
yeah.
Pines.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was a fun time. But that was the first time I got exposed to that kind of meeting, and then realizing kind of, I guess I didn't realize at the time because I was too damn young, just not mature enough in my eyes to understand the information I was kind of being given. And then through the years, I was going to that convention every single year, realizing like, all right, there's certain people that I gravitate towards constantly. And usually it's the guys that are technically at the top, because those are the guys I'm chasing. Like, not that I'm not trying to beat them. I'm not in competition, but I want to emulate them. I want to, like, I see the success they're having, and like, how are you doing that?
Yeah.
Like, I want to try to implement that into my market, and the biggest thing I get from all that is the education of what glass you're putting on. I mean, everything. I had no clue about that stuff when I was younger. I was just hanging film up on a window,
Yep.
just trying to do my thing. And I also think that, like, would you say now, like, if anything in the past 10, 15 years, glass technology has gotten
Crazy.
ridiculous.
It's phenomenal. I mean, it really is. So that's the important thing is not only the awareness of what window film can do, but also educating dealers so that they can do this. They can go out there and tell the true story. And it's not merely hanging glass or film on a glass, because you never know how it may pop the glass. And then all of a sudden you've just lost every ounce of credibility, not only for that person, but also for the industry. And so that's why we love panorama meetings and ARM Code certification program, Panorama Pro Network, because we hopefully demonstrate and add value to people coming to those meetings. We like to have fun, for sure, but we also like to educate and ask them, get their feedback. You guys have shared. Love to know more, the latest on meters that we can use for glass, so that we don't make a mistake and that we truly know what we're getting into. And so the education of even a premier dealer, it never ends. I mean, you have to stay on top of this stuff, because glass is changing immensely every year.
Yeah, that's been one thing at the meetings that's really stood out to me that you guys have done. I haven't seen anywhere else. Well, maybe more lately, even at the tint competition, they're there. But the meters, what's the company?
ETTMI.
Yeah, they've been at every panorama meeting I've
fantastic.
ever been to, and they've always got new toys and new ways to meter the glass and understand what you're working on. Probably saved us thousands of dollars of installing the wrong film on windows without actually checking them, and then the headache of the customers, and then the perception of the industry. Like, more people need to realize, yeah, these tools can be a little expensive, but in the long run, how much are you saving? How many jobs have we closed because the other person we're bidding against doesn't even mention it?
Right.
We actually test the glass and go, oh yeah, we've got a film that looks like it performs really well, but on your window, that's not the best choice. This is what you should go with.
Exactly. Not only that, the film to glass. If you submit a film to glass that maybe yellow, cautionary, you submit it, you know for sure exactly the makeup of that window, it becomes a little bit more scientific to say yes or no. The caution is there, but it's low risk, or it's very high risk. Avoid it. Go to this type of film. And that's where the beauty of having those meters and people who know how to use them can identify what type of glass we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was going to say, like, save us money, yes, to a point, but I think that we've all, if anything, it's allowed us to make more money, because now it's opened up our repertoire of films that we're actually comfortable like showing our customers. Like, beforehand, like, I'm fairly certain, I know my dad kind of kept our film very limited on what we sold through the majority of my career when I was younger, and us, getting bigger as a shop, is he always just sold the films that he knew that were green. It didn't matter what window you put it on. It always fell underneath that this film is not going to damage this glass.
Not going to pop the glass.
Exactly. But now we're getting to glass that people don't. I don't want reflective. So I throw the meter on. Like, well, you actually have the type of glass to where I don't have to worry about having the reflection. I can put a darker smoked film on there, and I don't have to worry about your glass popping. And all I got to do is I just got to submit the film to glass and get it approved. And as soon as it's approved, we're good to go.
Exactly.
You know,
And it should instill confidence in you guys, because
Oh,
when we
yeah.
look at the exact scientific reasons of the risk of whether it's going to break the glass or not, I mean, it's always an extreme case we look at, like how's the worst case going to happen on a cold Florida morning and it's in the 30s and all of a sudden the sun hits that glass and it bakes the middle of that glass and all of a sudden next thing you know it's expanded and boom, you got a problem. Those are the things that we want to avoid, and that's what that does. That process does that. So you should have the confidence that there's very little risk if we get the okay.
yeah, that's definitely the one thing. That's
Yep.
the one thing that you guys' team has always been amazing with. I always can call Miguel, and if he doesn't answer within a couple hours, he's either sent me a text or he's called me. Or usually, what it is, I'll take a picture of the meter after I've metered something. Especially when we first started really heavily using it, I'd take a picture and send it to him, and then within like an hour, he's calling me and telling me like, "This is what you can and can't do. Which way is it facing?" And asking all the questions. To where now it's like I have the base of knowing what to look for, but at the same time, I always have technically Miguel in my back pocket at all times. So I have
Absolutely.
someone that has that kind of knowledge when it comes to our industry. And it's just like I always have my back pocket to where I can always just like, "Are we good?" And as soon as he says yes, I'm like, "I'm good
No
to go.
worries.
No worries at all."
It is interesting you say that, because when we were at the Panorama, and I think we might have talked about it, we talked about how much experience is on the Solar Guard team for North America. It's in the hundreds of years of
Yeah.
people who've been in the industry, and the people out there who are not sure how to successfully sell, or if they have questions about generic things, pretty much you can ask anybody on our team, and they'll give you an answer. And it's generally just unbiased. Sure, we want you to buy our films and what have you, but honestly, we don't want to damage the industry. We want to give people the accurate information.
Yeah, and I would say, in my mind, that's the reason we've been using your product for so long. Are there comparable products on the market out there right now? There's a lot of stuff that's really similar, right? Like the products are all pretty similar. But honestly, in all the films I've used over the year, the quality of not only the product but the service we get from you guys has why we've been a 30+ year partner and
That is
continue
good.
the majority of the film I'm installing every day.
We
is
struggled
Solar
during
Gard.
COVID years for sure, but the service centers, Johnny and Sandy, they both stepped up. I mean, they did a fantastic job. We've got a good, solid team now, so we're back where we feel we're really comfortable in helping people 110% all the time, and that's great to hear, because we pride ourselves on customer service, even at the territory manager level. So
Oh yeah, like I said, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter who I reach out to. It doesn't have to be necessarily my rep. I can reach out to Rob. I mean, I can reach out to whoever. I can reach out to Scott. He's not even my rep, but and then I could reach out to John. Like any person, any one of the reps in the country, I know I could reach out to, and without a doubt, they would do whatever they could to answer the question. If not, point me in the correct direction.
Yep.
And and that's to me, that's you can't pass up that value. You can't put a price on that value when it comes to
You're right.
Tint, especially
You're
with
right.
the knowledge. I mean, the fact that you came on to Solar Guard, what was it? You said
7.
07?
So almost 16 years now, and Johnny Sibley's been over 20, Miguel's been over 20, Rob's been over 20, Lindsay's probably right around me, 15. Gary Clark, been in the industry for his whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unreal. Frank up in Canada, he's probably the longest tenured one. He's probably 28. So, my direct team, there's some significant experience there.
I've never really even thought about the numbers on that.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I did it once when I managed tech service, and I think I had a team of 7, and I had Nick Routh, if you remember Nick, who had been in the industry for 50 years, and then Gary Benoit, and between the two of them, they equaled 100 almost, and I'm like, well, that's kind of an unfair comparison because they have so much knowledge, but it's the same thing now again, all over again.
So this leads me to a question for you, because you've been there a while, you've seen it. We've experienced on the customer side the service and the product that we get from you guys. The culture there seems to be extremely strong. I know maybe it's gone through some ups and downs with different leadership, but how important to you is that culture of everybody as far as business goes in general? Because I know it's something we're trying to focus more on. Like, do we have the right people?
Right. It was COVID was a struggle for sure. But what I love hearing is like when we talked yesterday about that. I'm in the Solar Guard family. To me, that just resonates pride, and that means we're doing the right thing. So what does that mean internally? We want people to be able to get along together. Ideally, that always doesn't work because we've got a team of probably 50. But it's like I mean, that's critically important. They have to work together. They have to be symbiotic. They have to a lot of cross-functionalization of training of different roles, even though you're in customer service or you're a TM or you're in tech service, whatever that role may be, the cross-functionalization of solving a person's problem is first and foremost, regardless of what it is. And it can be as simple as, hey, make sure you get this order in for this guy. I don't know how to put the order in, but if someone else on my team would say, but put the order in and make sure he gets it because I got a call, he needs it. And that's the kind of thing that I think everybody on my team does exceptional. They take that extra value, they do the extra step, and they make sure that that customer's happy. And that is just pretty much the way people see when they come in. Like when we had a transition of CSRs in customer service reps in the service centers. You know, a lot of people would come in and they would be quiet and they would take it in. I mean, the software we use is a bit complex, so it takes a little while to get used to it. But then they started to see the interaction with the CSRs and the dealer and the TM and their boss and what have you. So all of those things they begin to learn and they get it. I mean, most people, they really do. They get it.
No, I'd agree with that. I would say, yeah, across the entire team, that was always, I'd say, one thing that we've never had, I wouldn't say an issue with, but that's always been something that, like, everyone's always willing to help in any sort of way possible.
Yeah.
And that's always come together. That was when my dad was running it, and, like, everyone kind of knew my dad by their own little ticks, and, you know, Ann being one of them. She had his nickname, like, whenever he would call in or anything like that. But no, it definitely seems like that has been something that has been implemented now for a long time. And it definitely shines through. Now, through COVID, you said the struggle. Is it just because it's just everything kind of being dialed down?
It was more people. People would quit. They couldn't come back into work. Replacing people proved to be very challenging. I think the entire world felt that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the reason was, but we went through a lot of folks getting through. And that was a struggle because that's something we were not used to be honest.
Yeah.
But you know, we absolutely do make mistakes. We learn from them, and that's, you know, I never yell at anybody. I never go at them and say, what were you thinking? Are you kidding me? But it's more about what can we do better next time? Where do we learn from this? And let's go from there. So, yeah.
No, that's definitely, I would say, what we've been trying to implement and grow into our business is that by itself. I mean, that's one thing that, like, you got to see our guys this morning. We are on the relatively young side of installers now, but I enjoy it in the fact that we brought people in that had the right attitude, have the right drive, have the things that you can't technically train into anybody. Tinting, like, I'm with a very firm belief, as long as I have someone with the right drive, I can teach you to be a world-class tinner. Like, yeah. I don't, it sounds like I'm demeaning myself. I don't think tinting's that hard. Like, it's...
Well, you're
what
you're a three-time champion, so Michael Jordan thought basketball was easy too.
in the sense that it always comes down to reps. It always comes down to the same thing like what you just said. It's if you make that mistake, just realize what the mistake was. Obviously not try to do it again, but try to pick up what you can pick up from it and then move on from it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm not going to sit there and beat you up about, like, oh, you just wasted a piece of film, you just did that. Like, if I had to really think about how much film I've probably wasted in my career, like, over the span of it, it's probably a good amount when it does come down to it. But that's how I'm now installing wise. When I scrap a piece, rare.
Yeah.
Very rare. Yeah. But that's because I've gone through the trials of unfortunately messing something up, or not just messing something up, getting something installed and then realizing, like, you know what, that's not, that doesn't, it's not to my standard. It's not to our company's standard, that installation. Rip the film off when you do it. It might cost me time. I'm not going to finish later, but that whatever, it is what it is. What matters is the quality. I mean, that's the one thing that I've always kind of gotten from you guys when it comes to the product we get from you guys. Every time, I can, less than two hands can recall getting product from you guys where there's been something wrong with the film or in the film, and I know you guys pride yourself on the quality of your product that you guys put out.
We absolutely do.
I mean, I've seen it over the years.
Yep.
I've been installing your guys' film now for, I think, 2 decades. So, and that's the one thing that's always come through.
Yep.
Is quality.
We've gotten better. We've upgraded San Diego and operations in Belgium and China. We've really got it dialed in now. They've really, I mean, Saint-Gobain came in. They put a $35 million metallizer out in San Diego. We upgraded the quality inspections so that we identify defects and get rid of them before we roll them up into shipment to customers. But it is really good to hear, because we've really worked hard on that. And honestly, the internal scrap rate for us back in when I took this role, first of 18, it was high, and it was because we were just not making it right, but we wouldn't ship it out. And so that was one of the missions of both Kendall Combs and Vishal, my manager now, and they've really done a fantastic job. And the operations facilities in San Diego and all over the world have done a really nice job, both with availability, scheduling the runs. We're a big ship, that's for sure. It's difficult to move. I would love to say we're a destroyer, but we're probably more like an Air Force carrier. But either way, it's an aircraft carrier. But it's I think they've done a really remarkable job.
Yeah, that's definitely stood out over the course of the last couple of years. Everybody had supply chain issues, and we definitely had the least issues with you guys. Nice. Film has been available, so.
And thankfully, our dad had us in the practice of, at first when he stepped out of the picture, we were thinking, or whenever that was going to happen, it was going to be like, oh, we don't need to carry this much film on us or anything. And to be honest, that was probably one of the silver linings leading into COVID, that thankfully we had the stock that we did. And then when it was available to buy, because we were already set up that way in the company to where we would have the capital to purchase to keep it on our shelves, just to make sure we always had it in supply, we were very lucky that we were able to keep a heavy amount of film on us. So when that did happen, it didn't really affect us at all. And if it was gonna happen, if something was coming down the pipe, I would always get a warning, like, hey, just let you know, we're about to get it, but everyone's trying to buy it right now, so you need to get your order in as fast as humanly possible. And not even just like, hey, you need to buy film from us right now. It's, I'm giving you the forewarning that, like, we're getting it in, we're trying to catch up, we're playing catch up right now, we're behind the 8 ball, but make sure you get your order in. And it's like, got what you're saying. Put a nice big order in, make sure that we always had film on our shelves. That's the last thing you want to do is land a job and like, hey, I can't do it for a month and a half. Sorry, guys.
Well, that's the other nice thing about, we came out with Solar Gard eShop last year, and they have inventory levels in there that if you guys are out working all day, you don't get home till 7 o'clock West Coast time, there's no service center open, and you're like, shit, where am I going to get, do I got film? Am I going to have to wait? And you can log in, and boom, you can see it right there and then, and you can place it. So that's, I underestimated the success that eShop would have last year. And it's been a remarkable tool, so we're kind of upgrading that as well to make it even more friendly for dealers and efficient internally. So very excited about that too. But I want to touch base on something you mentioned earlier about when COVID and when people came in, whether it's CSRs or whomever. It's interesting. I think patience was tested immensely because people would come in and they'd want to do everything correctly, and with you wanting the passion to train architectural installers is awesome, because the details absolutely matter in this business, and every one of them are so critical. So the patience is always tested, it seems like, even with a customer service rep trying to figure out how many SKUs we've got, and we've got thousands. It's unreal. And all the different VLTs and widths and what have you, and I can cut this down. By the way, didn't you know that? And they just get overwhelmed. So it is, and you recognize, you have to empathize with them on the amount of information they're absorbing, and that they want to be successful from day one. They want to be the CSR manager. They want to advance, but the patience and understanding the details are critical.
Yeah, no, that's something that we've gotten better with in the past couple of years, is when talking to our guys and like just having a conversation with someone who has nothing, that doesn't know anything about the industry, someone new coming in, like, the subtle nuances of what I'm doing installing wise, to me, it's just second nature. I'm like, yeah, just, run your finger, cut here. It's just do that. Not realizing that, like, it took numerous steps for me to get to that point, to be comfortable to even do that, and actually like, okay, this is the reason why I'm doing this. Yeah. And this is why this went wrong. Like, actually being able to get to the point and having the patience of understanding, like, you gotta treat that person, they don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Right.
Like, for us, we can sit here and talk film all day long, drop rolling and all these other different terminologies where we know exactly what we're talking about.
Yep.
But to anyone else coming into the industry, it's like, what do you mean drop roll? I don't understand what you're saying. Reverse roll, pre-cut, it's all these other different things. They've got You got no clue. So you have to actually sit there and break down, like from like the guys I showed you today. Armando, it took us, I think within 11 months, which I think we could have got him even faster into installing. We were just at a point of like, that's definitely something we've learned now is I know how to tint. Training someone to tint is a whole other skill by itself, is to pass that knowledge along. So we got him going, I think within like 11 months, he was pretty much doing all regular film and starting to do security film. Now with our guy we brought on 6 months ago, I think he started tinting at least two months ago.
Yeah, no, he almost immediately was starting to hang at least reps at the shop, and then he would take film home and do his own windows at home. And then on jobs, it's about 2 months in, he was
Faster than I thought.
yeah. So we're definitely getting them. If we're on a big enough job where there's time for it and there's windows that we know that they can handle, well, all right. Instead of just prepping ahead of us, I know you can prep now, start tinting, and we're right there to, all right, no, take it off, redo it. I'm okay with scrapping a piece or two if I'm going to get them more reps in faster. But he's now at the point where, I mean, I was just on a job with him the other day. He's installing 8 mil cleanly, like very cleanly with tight cuts and regular film all day long. So
do you guys focus on the selling aspect of the jobs and then they focus on the install, or will they do a blend in the future?
No, what we're building right now, we have our sales rep that does flat glass. For me, I'm inserted in the scheduling, and I'm usually in contact with my salesperson. I'm also going on consultations now too. Install wise, my installing's taking a nosedive. That's one of the main reasons. After the tin off last year, like I was contemplating not competing anymore. It's definitely a thing where if you're not installing, you're not keeping up with your skill, like. So, but I've been slightly talked into by most of the people at the shop. A, he wants to lose to me again. And then B,
oh man, the day I beat you, we're going to need a bucket
retired.
for all the tears.
I might be retired by that happens. So, I don't know.
Whatever. I don't care. If you win, I win. I don't care. I think like one of our huge advantages is like, we're like a hydra. The fact that like he stepped almost entirely away from flat glass, and now I've been focused on actually still being on the jobs with guys. I said actually again.
Yeah, you say that actually too much.
Actually, it's very impressive that you both have won and you're both in the same shop. That's pretty impressive.
Well, that was where I was almost at the point of like completely being content with hanging it up. Is like he won the year before, I won last year. Like, hey, we went back to back as a shop. I could care. I mean, it would be cool to go back to back myself, but it was just kind of one of those things. Like I wanted to kind of get into judging, and I have been approached now and asked about it, but now I'm torn. I know I have a little bit of time to decide if that's what I want to do or not. But I also do know when it comes down to whenever I do decide to stop installing, they want to make all the judges in that competition guys that have won the competition.
Nice.
Just so it takes away the questioning. 'Cause that's one thing that happens in the meetings constantly is, well, that guy works for that manufacturer, he's going to be biased. And like my response to that is like, guys, do you really think that these guys are taking the time out of their work week? Like, yes, the manufacturers are letting them, telling them they can work here, they represent the company, but they still have other obligations and stuff. They still have stuff they have to be doing at the same time. And they're judging the windows. Do you think they really care what type of film is on there? Like they're dedicating their time to this, to trying to improve the industry. They could care less. Like our biggest push for that is the guy who's crowned us 4 times now is a direct competitor, EcoTint. Brian, he is across the valley. He's one of the judges in the competition. Do you think that he's sitting there going, oh yeah, let me just go ahead and crown my local competition that they're the best in the world? Like, get out of here. It sounds so dumb. And that's the other kind of drawback right now. It's like, if I do get any pushback, it's like, well, if you're going to be a judge, your guys can't compete. I'll just never judge. I'll look for other competitions to kind of do that at. But I'll just never judge in that competition because I don't ever want to take that away from my guys.
That would be cool if one of your guys won.
Well, that's our biggest focus.
That would be the biggest prize.
That's our biggest focus because honestly, ultimately, I think mindset, and we're both very, very picky with our installs. That competition's about quality. That is directly handed down from our dad. That was like his number one focus. So yeah, like that's the next step is I want to train people that are going to go win these competitions that I'm watching their work every day. And I know that that's a window that would win the competition, that way I know my customers are getting that kind of quality. It helps boost their morale up on getting to go compete, see other people's tips, like, going to those competitions and watching other people tint and see how differently everybody does it is the other driving factor for us for wanting to do a school that where we're not going to just have people coming that are learning. We're going to have other people in the industry that we've known forever come and help us teach a class and show one of their tips or tricks that we've picked up from them while being at the Tint Off or at the Panorama meeting. And let's get a community or a source, a library of all these different tips and tricks for this is how this person attacks a wood door. This is how this person attacks an arch. This is how we do it. This is how we're tinting the window when we do the Tint Off. Here's why. All of those different things, because you watch people tint at the competition and you can't find two people that me and him don't tint the window the same way. Like there's so many different little styles and techniques. It's crazy. I don't think people realize how much of an art it is. Like we would never not put a factory top edge. If I have the ability and the size roll and there's no reason that I have to cut the top edge, I'm putting a factory top edge every single time. I know he is too. There's a lot of people that have won the competition before that cut the top edge during competition, and
it makes no sense to me. And
but
I'm
they
curious.
still get it on there cleanly.
They do it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, see, like one within the Solar Gard family, Sal from Sal's House Tint.
Sure.
He's side factories. I like watching him compete this past year, and his window looked like wow.
I thought he was gonna make the finals.
I was a little shocked he didn't make it in, and also Les didn't make it
Both
in
of
because
them.
both their windows looked clean. They looked clean, so I was really surprised. But both of them, side factory. I've never like. There's definitely reason to do side factories in a house if you have a lock in the way, or the top of the window has a blind that you can't get down,
or it's a wide window so it's not straight and it arches, so you're gonna have to cut it anyways. Like there's scenarios.
There's plenty of scenarios where you gotta cut the top edge, but in a competition where it's a rubber seal window and it's a 3x5 window. Why are you doing that? And I just want to know, like, there's got to be some reasoning for it, and they know what they're doing. They're the top of the heap. They are the top in the industry. Those are the guys that like when we like that's the big drive for the academy is like bring guys like that in. Right. I want to bring you in. I want to pick your brain, and obviously you're going to pass something along to where it's going to help improve. Like bring anyone in from the industry, like, and not necessarily have to be. I would say that's one thing that I'm happy kind of where the industry has gone is brand loyalty is different now than it was back then. Back then it was if you carried anything else, see ya.
Yep.
We want nothing to do with you, which I understand the reasoning for it. I get it. It's definitely one way of going about it. But now it's kind of gotten to the point now where it's, yes, I want brand loyalty, but at the same time, if it's a product that we don't produce or it's a market that we can't go after because we don't have something for it, by all means, like just do your thing. I'm not worried about it. But like doing the Tint Academy is bringing installers in to where they're doing the job correctly in the eyes of the manufacturers of this is how it should be applied. This is what this film's designed for. Because who's going to know that is you guys.
Right.
You guys are the one designing the film for, especially all the new glass systems. If we were working with single panel glass and that completely different scenario, completely different. But when you get a dual pane window, it's got a triple low E coating on surface 2, or say it has on surface 3. Now you're really in territory where you shouldn't be putting anything on that window. It needs to be exterior install. If you're not doing those things and you go out and do them, now you're breaking windows all over the place, and you're just hurting the industry.
Yep.
Or even coming now against triple pane, because I see it all the time. I've got triple pane windows in my home I just bought. So like, and
it's one thing I haven't been actually running into, thankfully.
I've seen quite a bit of it. Like, that's another interesting twist.
It
that
is
I think
big in Canada, big in Europe, working its way into Americas and the northern hemisphere.
Yeah,
they're coming.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
So that pretty much comes down to with triple pane, even with the coatings. I mean, there's coatings now that are coming on surface 4, also on the interior part of the window. And I know that was one of them. I'm pretty certain that's one of the reasons why you guys' exterior is starting to grow when it comes down to it, to be able to provide a solution for the outside of the window, and which technically is the best spot to attack the attacked sun is
a little better performance too. So it's a win-win, and you won't hurt the glasses typically. So it is absolutely a win-win. But that's definitely a growth area for us, and we're doing some R&D work on new OSW films, longer lasting, better performing. So sealing, not sealing, those kind of things. So we're working on that.
That's nice because we've been installing a lot more of it. That's what I put on the back side of my house is DX, just because it's triple pane glass, and I know the performance is better anyways. And Okay,
broken
the
there.
longevity is the only downfall right now. You don't have as long of a warranty, but it's still longer than most people are typically even staying in a home right now.
Right.
And the return you're getting on the energy savings, especially out here in Vegas, is like,
Got to be huge.
yeah. So I don't know. That's exciting. If the longevity can be increased on that stuff, I'm getting to the point where I enjoy installing exterior better than interior. I don't have to move stuff. Especially commercial. If I've got pull gasket rubbers on a commercial job and they don't care the difference of the warranty, like I'm recommending that all day long if heat's their number one concern.
Exactly.
I don't have to deal with half walls inside of your office, a lobbyway full of people. You can just knock that whole center out, and the product is performing better.
It is.
So
The only issue would be high rises and things like that.
Yeah.
That gets to be challenging, if not impossible.
Yeah.
But it is. It's definitely. I think it's. I mean, we've got a nice portfolio of products. We've kind of added some things architecturally. We're working on the OSW line. Automotive should have another revamp this year, so we're looking at doing that. So we're trying to keep with the times. I think we've done a nice job with that. We've embraced ceramics. So we've got the full gamut. We've got dyed, we've got metallized, we've got ceramics, all premium products. We've got all that kind of stuff. So I'm happy with the product lineup, that's for sure. So, and our
definitely.
PPF is fantastic. I mean, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, we were just talking last night about how much he likes Active.
Yeah, no, Active was, and in my eyes, it's an absolute home run.
Yeah.
The look of it, I mean, love the look of it, and then the installation of it. When it comes to and that's not so much on the consumer side. That's more of on the dealer side of, you want your installers putting something on that they're comfortable with or that they can be efficient with. And most definitely, from getting my hands on the sample roll to actually getting my hands and buying some and start installing it, no doubt about it when it comes to installation. And I've got my hands on a good amount of products now, either manufacturers sending me sample rolls to test something out, and up there with probably one of the easier bras or friendlier bras to install when it comes down to it. If it comes to getting something out of it, because it happens, get an entire hood squeegeed out and you think you're good to go, and all of a sudden you see a hair that's 3 inches in on a side, and you're like, you got to be kidding me. And some of the older products, when you lift that up, yeah, you could. I was shown some techniques to make it kind of go that you could kind of hide it, which I didn't realize, like using alcohol to reset the glue. Never really heard of that before until when someone explained it. I was like, I've done it before. I didn't realize what I was doing when I was doing it. It just turned out better that the way I was flushing it out with water than alcohol, and then me squeegeeing it down. But yeah, with hydro, it's not. I mean, not hydro, with active. It's you don't see nothing. And that's even one of my installer the other day. He had to get something out of a front piece, and same thing. Like the next morning, he was showing me. He's like, "Yeah, I had to pull this up to this point, and I couldn't see anything." I was like, "That's what I want to see. That's awesome." It makes, and then let alone the warranty too. I'm not mistaken, you guys are one of the few companies out there that actually has a 12-year warranty on that product now.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fantastic product. I mean, that's coming from Korea, our Korean plant we bought 2 years ago. We get some of our ceramic window films from over there as well. But it's we got plans to expand it already. It's all the products coming out of there are fantastic. They're rapidly being accepted in the market, so it's just gone very well so far. And the reception of the market from active perspective has been phenomenal. People who love it just can't get enough of it.
Yep.
So
Yeah, no, I'm definitely one of those people.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it. Now, with I know with you guys actually produce your film, because that's the one thing. That's another reason why I actually do enjoy having our partnership with you guys. Is I know that you guys are from inception to the creation of the product to handing it over to me. You guys got full control of everything.
we do.
Because there's only so many. How many plants are even in? How many I'd say manufacturers actually producing their own? There's only 4 or 5 technically.
Yeah, I would say I'd say 4
4.
for sure. So
Yeah, see, that's another, for me, that's another big reason why I like, well, we've always liked being partners with you guys.
Yeah.
Is that the quality control is always on point.
Yeah.
it's quality, and also, I mean, we look at we chatted earlier, and I've said it at the Panorama Pro meeting. I love being a partner with a dealer who wants to not only grow their business but help us grow the awareness of window film in the world, but also the name Solar Gard. And if that is both common goals of the dealer and us, which it is for us, we're going to be great partners. And I really emphasize that with my team because we're investing a lot of money of softwares to look at specification selling, to get more avenues out for leads. We're getting there. It's a hurdle. We're getting some help from Saint-Gobain on that from the Certainty facility, which they're massive. But at the same time, we're growing in the right areas that will lead to nice, stable base business, and that's what I love to see. So that's why when I say I'm looking for partners, it's guys like that who want to go out and sell the Solar Gard name, the products, the specifications, what have you, because that link needs to be closed. It's just not. I don't think it's as easy as just handing someone something saying, "Here's a job for you." I mean, those are fantastic. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But we need that partnership, and that's what I love about Panorama Pro.
What would you say is the biggest misconception with architectural films, or actually technically, I guess I could span that even further and say the industry in general, because there's even stuff in auto. I mean, recently there was a letter that just got dropped by the IWFA, which is technically that is the governing body when it comes to auto film, and explaining the difference in infrared heat rejection and pretty much trying to stop people or trying to stop dealers from misleading and only showing certain numbers or only discussing certain numbers. Like I will say that it happens, obviously happens here locally, but we'll have a customer call and say, well, they said they have a film that holds out 92% of the heat. And it's like, did they expand on that at all? And then you start going with well, is that total solar heat rejection? You start going through the numbers with them and they're like, oh, they didn't say. And it's like, I hear those things and it gets slightly discouraging because it's like, it's not that they're lying, it's that they're just not giving you the full scope and picture. Like, so what would be I would say the biggest misconceptions that you kind of see from your end?
Yeah, it's similar. I mean, it's as simple as a person buys a brand new car and I'll talk to him, a friend of mine, and I said, hey, where are you going to go get Tint? I don't have to. It's already got Tint on it. I'm like, you do? What do you got? And I'll go back and look. And I'm like, no, that's just you got dye on your glass.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It does nothing. It absorbs probably more heat than it's worth. So I'm like, you need to get some film on there. And they have no idea. So it's the awareness of what film really does is huge. It's a difficult avenue or dilemma to solve because there's so many people in the world, in the United States alone. I mean, trying to convince them that, a dyed glass in a car, brand new, does really not much to reject heat. In fact, it probably radiates it back inside more.
Yeah.
But that awareness is the biggest challenge we get. People will look on like WebMD to become diagnosed with some sort of ailment, and then they're a doctor. And I think the public is the same way. So that's why I think the credibility is critical with dealers and the training of dealers to ensure they say the concise same message that, yeah, IR is an important factor in the TSER game, but it's only 50%. So you factor that in. I mean, where's the other 50% hurting you or helping you or what have you? What are you going to do with that? And that's the story that dealers should tell to consumers to really make the story closed.
Yeah. What about for flat glass? Is it more likely now when it comes down to it, just the importance of knowing what you're installing on?
Yeah, I think it is, but it's also, I don't think people understand really what window film does a lot of times. I mean, they think, oh, it may, reduce your glare. It may help me a little bit on saving some AC bills in Florida or what have you. But, I mean, there's a lot of benefits to window film people don't realize. And, like with the tragedies that we've had, unfortunately, in the school systems, it's horrible. But, window film can offer a temporary economical solution to get these kids somewhat protected, just to buy time, if nothing else. Yep. Get the first responders out there so they can take care of something. But it's not a foolproof system, but at the same time, it could give them 10 minutes. And in some of these instances, that's the difference. Yeah. That is absolutely the difference. And people don't realize that window film can do that just by applying it to an existing piece of glass. So those kind of things are what get me excited about if we could make an awareness from a consumer standpoint and continue to remind them what they can do. But misperceptions in the architectural world, I mean, not knowing glass and putting film on it, you're going to get in trouble. It's going to be you're just playing with fire. Sooner or later, you're going to get burnt, and that's dangerous. And then it hurts everybody.
Yep. Oh no, absolutely. Like even like the whole safety film thing. Like last year, we were lucky enough to we were able to help a school out where we did their pretty much every entryway in 14 mil attachments on everything, and then also it's setting that expectation to them like this is going to buy you time, and that's the one thing. And it's even sparked not really debate, but people that make comments like on the videos that we posted because we were able to capture a lot of content of us doing it, kind of trying to explain what we were doing, what it will do, and put that awareness out there. And we still are getting comments like, "Oh, you're just trying to profit off a tragic event," and trying to go after us. And it's like, well, no, not at all. Believe me. I mean, I have a son. I wish I didn't have to even think about this stuff, but unfortunately, I do. And I'd rather have it on his windows at his school because if it buys that little extra time that the first responders are gonna need to get there to stop one extra person from being hurt or stop anyone from being hurt,
it's worth it.
Absolutely, it's worth it, and it's it's kind of
and schools are a big system. I mean, it's going to take them time. They'll build schools now with bullet resistant capabilities and all the entrances and glass. That's fantastic, but there's a ton of schools and a ton of glass out there that this problem still exists, and it's an easy solution. It's economical, and it buys them time that the schools can then properly fix it to do what they need to do. But in the meantime, there's a peace of mind available. So
put that stopgap there to at least get something, and it's something that can be actioned on,
right?
Like that,
exactly.
And beyond the schools I've done, we've actually done quite a few temples and churches.
Yeah.
Like unfortunate with the rise of all that, like same thing.
They're
putting security film everywhere in the system.
There's grant money out there available for it too.
You're right.
They're getting. The
You're
government will
right.
help pay for it, and
I'm pretty
I know
sure
there's a
actually
lot of
one
those.
them we've done. It's either we come in, we've given the proposal, and usually it takes they put all the paperwork in, and then within a month they get the grant approved, and then they get it done, they get it taken care of. Because why not take advantage of that?
Exactly.
And put it in there. If you're gonna get supplied the funding, why not?
Why not is exactly right.
So I know Texas, right? Did they put something out that every school has to have it within so much time?
I don't know that it's a mandate, but
it's
I know
like
there's
a
grant
goal.
money available.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and they're not the only state either, right?
Nope.
So it's going crazy all over the place.
Yep.
Yeah, I know one of the schools we did out here was a private school that had schools in Texas, and because of that initiative there, they decided to go ahead and do this one now. Yep. So it's spilled over to us already. So
the Covenant School in Tennessee that had the incident, we worked with a preferred partner, Scott McCutcheon, and he went in there with our help and put window film with an attachment on. So now they're secure till they can get it figured out. So they've now got this peace of mind that we can buy time if, God forbid, something happens again. So those are the good days, That's when we wake up and we've done something good for the world. It's not taking advantage. It's like, for Christ's sake, we're helping.
Yeah.
Well, those comments I read those. I'm just like, you just have nothing else to do.
They're just helping our engagement. They're making more people see it. So bring them on. The internet's full of a bunch of people wasting their time making negative comments on stuff they don't know about.
Yeah,
but honestly, you just gotta ignore it.
No, you can make all the comments you want when it comes down to it. With thankfully, with us being able to put this kind of content out and put ourselves out there, you can get to know who we are for the most part. And I would hope to think that we don't come off as all we're doing is trying to do this to make money and just trying to profit, especially when it comes to schools or and what have you. It's when it comes down to it, it's like, I want to just protect my child. And I can only imagine. I know the feeling of thinking if I would ever get a phone call of something happening at that school, if I haven't done anything in my power to put those stops in, knowing that I could have done something, I can't. I don't want to think about it.
And then for me, coming at it from the installer side, I've been installing window film most of my life. I would much rather be installing regular film day and night. But we do have customers, small commercial businesses, residential, that we're installing security film on every day now. And what's weird for me is that wasn't really a thing 10 years ago. And now there's so many more people requesting it because they're afraid, because there's more there's more home invasions and burglaries that are happening, and people are more aware of it now than ever because of the Nextdoor app and social media. I think awareness that these things are happening is increased probably more than they're actually happening, which has people afraid to be in their home. And it's like, yeah, like Ricky was saying, like, I'd rather not have to be installing a bunch of security foam in people's homes because they're scared somebody's gonna break through their window in the middle of the night.
Right.
But at the same time, I actually feel some comfort in knowing that what we're installing is gonna work and it's gonna buy them some time if they do have an incident. We had a customer recently that had us come as soon as the window was replaced. I think they were still replacing the window. They had someone try to break through a balcony sliding glass door while they were home, and he had video cameras of everything. He ended up grabbing his gun, shooting them through the window. They got away. He looks at his cameras. It was 5 big guys with a moving truck that, like,
Wow.
him.
Isn't that just, that's incredible.
The wife woke up to somebody standing at the sliding glass door trying to get into it. And so it's like, that's scary. I get it. Like, and people are hearing that story more and more and more.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, we've got something that can help slow them down, give you reaction time to call the police, grab your gun if you have a gun, and actually protect your family.
You know, it's true because we talked about the dual reflective, and that's another feature of being able to do that to the schools. You can stop the view in to see what's going on,
Yep.
and they're still fighting. And so you could put like a silver 20, or you could put a true view 5 or 15 or 30, and you could put that in there, and boom, you know, you've eliminated that. And that just adds to it.
This kind of actually ties into what we were saying, not overselling it. Like, we've had people comment on some of the videos we've posted of security film working, where I think it's actually your guys' video of them shooting the window and then trying to smash through it.
Yeah.
And people comment like, oh, how much is the bullet resistant film? Like, no, it's not bullet resistant.
Right.
Like, no, it's just slowing them down. But the cool thing with the dual reflective film and being able to create some privacy, you're not creating cover, which would actually be protecting you from the bullets, but the concealment that now they can't aim at if they can see you through the window. Like,
Exactly.
that's another layer of, I mean,
I've never thought of it that way.
yeah, totally.
I really haven't.
And they don't know what's behind there. They don't know if there's people, if there's
So
a
that could
person with a
totally
gun
save lives.
waiting to greet them. I mean, they have no idea. That adds that mystery to it, and hopefully creates doubt in their mind. Well, I don't know about Purple break in and do these things.
Yeah, they're definitely not sane.
No. I mean, I think that it's obviously everyone being able to see everything that's happening at all times. When something happens, it's either shot out onto an app or social media or something. So it's definitely the fear is there, and then people pushing it. Like, I can't stand when I go into a security film consultation and then I'm talking to the customer, and I already had someone there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you guys have 12 or 14 mil?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do, but like we're starting to get a bomb deterrent film. Like, you don't need that." And in the fact that like the previous person is pushing the 12 on them, either because they're getting it on an overstock list or whatever, and they're using that to their advantage to get a product at a cheaper price, but then use the fear to upsell them to where you have to use this film. And it's like, hey, let alone, do you know if this person even knows what they're doing when it comes to installing this film? Because when you get to 12 to 14 mil, like, if you technically, in my eyes, haven't been certified or haven't been taught to how to squeegee through it, how to attach it properly, it's not going to perform the way you think it's going to perform. Especially when you walk into, which I have a couple times, you go to a job where, actually you just recently did a school where they put safety film on the front of the school and they didn't attach anything.
Oh yeah. They had us there to replace some windows in another section of the school that were damaged. It was like a music room or something. And when I came in, I noticed the front entryway had the edge of the gasket was cut off, and then maybe an eighth of an inch of bead of silicone was around the film and the gas. And I asked them, I'm like, do you guys get security film put on here? Oh yeah. I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm not like trying to put anybody down, but I want you guys to be aware that how this is done isn't gonna work. Like,
this is gonna cave straight in.
Like, it was so bad. Whoever did that either didn't know or they should be ashamed of themselves, because it was really bad.
Well, I would say almost a good majority of people probably just don't know, unfortunately. And it's
Yeah, that's the scary answer, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
to me, because it's like the person who's okay. Where are you buying your film from? And they're okay with selling you that film with not making sure that at least like, hey, these you need to at least do these things, because if we're not doing these things, if there is an incident, this is just going to destroy everyone across the board.
Yep.
When it comes down to it, I mean that's from security film to regular solar film too. Putting solar film on. Like I just recently went to a house where we put I think Slate 30 on, and they ended up having a crack in their window, and they were besides themselves, like stressed out in the fact that like we called the builder and they said because we tinted it, there's no warranty. So I went out, I wanted to look at it and see where it was, and it was a stress fracture. I was like, you guys are good, it's covered, it's warranty. Yep. They're like, oh, and I explained, I was like, what ends up happening is you got to think about it. How many pieces of glass are being manufactured? There's gonna be a piece that gets through that isn't 100%, or while they were installing it,
The edge gets nicked.
It gets nicked. It's not that my film broke your window. It's
Right.
that your window was already damaged in some way, and my manufacturer is going to stand behind the fact that like, hey, this happens once in a while. I mean, I think we maybe had like
we had
4 or 5 breakages. Not even that.
not even that. I
mean, it
think
was like
2.
Yeah, and we had like 100,000 square, or just under 100,000 square feet installed. So
Yeah.
like after I told them that, and they're like, oh, so this like never happens. I'm like, yeah, this never happens.
No, I think it's like less than 1%
Yeah,
of our architectural sales.
Yeah.
So it's nothing.
yeah. I was like, it's like it's gonna get. We'll submit the paperwork. We gotta get some estimates for the glass. We'll get a glass picked out. We'll get that installed for you. We'll come out, put the film on, and like as soon as they heard the fact that like, no, it's all covered and taken care of. Like, oh, thank God. Like I thought we were. I'm like, no, you're good.
Yeah.
It's all warranty. It's all taken care of. And I explained to them like the difference, like the reason why home builders and window companies, they'll bash film from end to end of,
Sure.
Yep, it's gonna void the warranty. I'm like, yeah, 100% is. But it's a good thing that I'm partnering with a company that understands they have trained and trust me to make sure that I'm putting this on the appropriate surface on the right window to where if something like this happens, there's a chance this would have happened without me putting my film on there.
Yep.
And it could have been hit by the sun at a certain point, and with the wrong conditions, it was going to break no matter what. So they're just going to cover it and they're going to take care of it for you.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, and that usually puts as soon as I got done talking with them, they were instantly at ease. Like, it's one of those things that without setting that expectation with everybody, especially when security films is definitely something where that it blows my mind when I walk in. I see no attachments on something. Like I've done that. Besides that school, I've been on a couple installs last year where I was replacing a single window. They had their house security film, and had a window broken into, and like I'm looking at all the windows on the house. I'm like, I'm just letting you know I'm siliconing this window. I'm charging you for this. It's gonna look different than everything else. You don't have any attachments on any of your windows. What does that mean? I'm like, these windows are pointless. Like,
Yeah.
You have tempered glass. It's not even
It
like,
will come off as a sheet.
Yeah.
oh, I was like, this is going to push right in. If anything, you just stopped yourself from cleaning up half the glass.
Yeah.
So sorry about that. It kind of is what it is when it comes down to it. It sucks that we have to battle that stuff constantly. But again, like say it over and over again, the main reason for doing this is to get out as much content as humanly possible of this is what can be done. This is what to be expected of it. And don't let someone try to come in and say something different, because I mean there has to be a standard across the board when it comes to almost every manufacturer, because if you don't set that standard, it hurts everybody.
That's what I like about Armor Code Certified Partner. You're demonstrated to know that you can install heavy gauge film with an attachment. You have to be certified to buy it from us. You don't necessarily have to be that to buy it from our competitors, and that's okay. Even though they're ACP certified, I still think it's the right thing to do for the industry and for the people and the consumers. I wish they would all buy from us, but that's not a reality. But at least they know what they're doing, and that's a little good peace of mind for us, and that we're doing something good for the window film industry, and that's the way we think about it.
Yeah.
No, that's something I wish would be standard across the board when
Yeah.
it comes to safety film, especially selling it in the certain circumstances, certain jobs, is at least having your installers have to be certified. And if anything, the salesperson too, if anything, should go through and at least know the knowledge of the film and what they're selling, to where they're not telling someone, oh yeah, this is ballistic or bulletproof, and it's like, no,
Yeah,
not at all. So
anti-spall maybe, but that's it.
anti-spall, explain that a little bit more.
So a lot of people will put safety film on the backside of a piece of glass, and where maybe someone may say it's bulletproof, It's really not. No window film is bulletproof by itself. But what anti-spall means, it'll catch the debris coming from the backside of the glass, so it'll prevent the potential damage if someone's sitting right behind a glass and it gets like a shot above their head, they would get sprayed with shards of glass. It will prevent that, or that film will hold that spall, they call it.
Okay.
So nothing more than that.
Okay.
Not bulletproof by any means. So yeah,
So you just keep the glass from flying in,
Yeah.
any shrapnel or anything
Yep.
like that from hitting you.
heavy duty stuff. Yeah.
That was that's the first time I've heard that. That was really cool. This is crazy. Like again, been doing this my whole life, and I'm always learning stuff. This is why we like to be around you guys and come to the panorama
Yeah.
meetings. And
I mean,
there's always like a new little fact to learn because there's so much going on.
Yeah,
I can't
Miguel's big
imagine.
into that. He was the one who taught me about the anti-spall, and don't tell him I said that. But no, but he is. He's the best, and he's got the anti-spall. We worked with people who, there are people that use window film as part of a bulletproof solution, but it's tested as a complete system. So if you don't have the whole system, you can't claim that. But that's why we don't say window film is bulletproof,
Yeah.
but that system may be. But they use it primarily for anti-spall to catch it and catch the glass. So
So they're doing multiple layers of glass.
different things.
Yeah, I got to
acrylic.
see that in the military. The older up armored glass that we had in Iraq, before we got the newer MRAP vehicles, it was like 8 or 9 layers of glass with laminate in between every layer, and that's what we were rolling around in. That was bulletproof. But it was like looking at the edge of those windows, I was like, this is just like 7 layers of glass with a bunch of laminate in between it. Like then we started getting 1-inch thick like Lexan,
Yeah,
and
it's lighter. That
Yeah.
I was gonna
sounds-
say that seems
Yeah.
like it's
Probably
gonna be
better.
a little bit lighter.
yeah.
yeah.
A little bit lighter. That's
Yeah,
what
but that was knowing film, knowing glass, knowing what Lexan was even. Like I was looking at those things while I was there. It was like, oh, this is interesting. So the new MRAPs had the really thick Lexan instead of the layers of glass. But
Nice.
anyway,
Well, it looks like we're coming to the end. Like wrap this up.
Time
Again,
flew.
It's
yeah,
when we first started doing this, it was like I didn't know if I could hold the conversation for long enough, and now it's more likely at a time where it's like, not to say I'm trying to time up how to where the end of the conversation, but we could just keep going, we just keep going.
Yeah.
Just realizing that it's the comfortability of actually sitting down and be able to exchange and have a good conversation and learn things like the sprawling thing. Like it's something like I know that me and you talked just beforehand about that. I definitely wanted to bring it up because it's one of those things too. It's like I've never heard that explained, and I've never heard it explained like that. And now I know I'm going to go to my sales rep and I'm going to explain to her like, this is what you can explain or what this film can do when it does come down to it. Is I mean, I'm assuming with that also would be an account for is that's one of the main reasons why I would assume a lot of the government buildings got security filmed after
9/11?
Yep.
Yeah, I think, but that was right when that time when a lot of misleading information. I think the government they put 14 mil layered, so
Oh.
it's pretty heavy duty. At least the stuff that we did. So it's I think it led to what happened in Florida, what we talked about before. But yeah, it has something to do with that. They were more into the bomb blast protection mitigation work. So.
Yeah. All right.
But I appreciate what you guys are doing. This is great. You guys have a great vision for going forward with both not only your business but the industry, which is awesome. And we're Solar Gard here to help, and we love to be your partner. And I'm looking forward to it. It's awesome.
yeah.
I love
no,
these things.
It's been a lifetime of kind of having you guys around us. I mean, there's so many people at Solar Gard that feel like family for real because we've known them for so long. It's always made sense to us. I mean, the product's top quality, and we've tried it all. And the people are such an asset to us that it's like, yeah, we can't really ever steer away. I mean, the panorama films, in my mind, as an installer, like there's nothing out there that's better, quality-wise for my customer and installer-wise. Just everything about it is the slate. I've said it a million times, is the best film I've ever.
The small time period that we could have possibly used that in the tin off, no doubt in my mind, it would have been a Solar Guard deal every single guy that year. Just with the way that
It's little subtle stuff about it that just
Well, we're changing this year doing that. So
Yeah. So, but no, that was the whole thinking how long we have been partners with you guys, and we've been selling you guys film. the fact, like the last time you said you started like 07, 08, I started thinking about it this morning. I was like, I was getting out of high school. I was 18 years old then.
He had to go there.
Oh
didn't
my!
he?
Well, I'm just like it just
Shoot,
kind of
it
blows my mind that it's like
Yeah.
we were a couple years away from being 2 decades, and it's like
Yeah.
thinking how fast that time has literally gone by is mind blowing. And then also just looking back at the growth that we've had as a company from there to the point we are now. And
It's awesome.
And thankfully we've had the relationship we've had with you guys and been able to grow with one partner at the, one always having you guys there to help support and help us grow has always been, I'm very thankful for it. And,
Yep.
I appreciate everything you guys do for us. Like the fact that you came out here, like literally came out here to kind of just do this.
Yep.
Like, that we were able to go out to dinner last night, which we appreciate. That was fun. There's even more conversations, catching up and everything. But like the fact that you just came to do this, like that means the world to us. And
Yeah, no,
thank
and I
you.
want to make our partnership on steroids this year, like we talked about last night. So we're going to do that.
For sure.
Fun.
Oh,
So I've got one last question.
Yeah.
We were talking about awareness. You've got a much larger view of the architectural film, the industry as a whole, in my mind. What percentage of consumers do you think are even aware of all the different products and service that we have for them for residential and commercial? How low is it? Because I feel like it's extremely low. I've experienced customers my whole life saying, dang, I wish I could have known I would have done this years ago. I've just only thought of, I hear window tint, I think car.
Yeah.
Like, I hear that over and over and over.
You know,
and over.
I think it would have been like 5% back in 05, something like that in 2005.
Okay.
But I think now with the energy savings of large buildings and people watching what's going on, I know like we've gotten phone calls about, hey, I saw this guy put on this film in the building. It's a 20-story building. Says he's going to save X amount of energy a year. What can you do for me at my home and that sort of thing? So it's still extremely low. I would say no more than 10%.
Okay,
No more.
To me, that is the opportunity for anybody in the tint
Absolutely.
industry. If you're already doing automotive window tint, what that means is if only 10% of the people in your market know that they can tint their home to save energy or security or decorative frost or whatever that product might be, if you can start making good quality content of you doing that and explaining what problem you're solving, and you can raise that from 10% to 20%, you just doubled the size of your local market.
Yeah, and not only
Like,
that, Josh,
I don't got to compete with the guy down the road. There's more people that can just learn.
Absolutely. I think you've got an awareness percentage of, say, like 10, total guess. But then you've got the amount of glass that's really tinted in the world
Yep.
is down at 2 or 3, and you've got just that 7%, which is more than any dealer could probably deal with in a year.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. There's so much opportunity out there.
Yeah.
And that's what's exciting about us. That's why we're looking at all the OSWs and the new product upgrades and things of that nature, because we want to be able to help you and solve those problems. But there's a big market out
Oh,
there.
it's gigantic.
Architecturally, huge.
I just see that as a huge opportunity for the entire industry. So
I agree.
all right, that was what I'm glad that I wasn't sure if I was crazy or not, because it's like, man, these people can't keep telling me this over and over and over again if everybody knows that this is an option.
Yeah.
I think most people are still blind to the fact
totally
that
agree.
they can use window film.
I think more people are opening up to alternatives right now because they're getting quotes on glass and they're like, excuse me, it's going to cost how much to replace the glass in my home? And then they start looking for alternatives, and there is more content being put out now, and they realize like, hold on, let me see what this can do. And it's like, yeah, you don't have to replace your windows. Like if all the seals and everything are good to go and you can hem all that up, I can improve the efficiency of your glass dramatically without having to rip your house apart. I mean, all the stuff that comes with replacing windows, and just put a sheet of tint on there. Especially if it's your home, you have lifetime warranty. As long as you live there,
Boom.
it's covered.
Yeah.
Done.
To which I don't think I've ever actually been on I don't think I've been on a warranty for anything house-wise when it really comes down to it. Like actually true failure. I think the only time I've been on warranties is improper installation, and you guys still covered it. It was another dealer that claimed to have your guys' film. I remember this one. It was a bronze film that the guy said he was a Panorama dealer back in the inception of Panorama. And he printed up the flyers and everything, and it was supposed to be like an Autumn Bronze 30. We went out there, and it looked like he picked up a handful of dirt and just hucked it into the window. It looked horrible. And you guys, the Solar Guard was just like, replace it, take care of it, and we replaced, took care of it. You guys credit us the film, credit us the labor, and went about your business because it meant more to you guys. The name.
Yeah.
Yep. It was we're not going to. Hey, you know what? We know what that guy did. We're already going after that legally to shut that down, but at the same time to take care of the customer.
Yep.
That's what we care about because we don't want to hurt the industry.
No, I totally agree.
And you guys have always been like that. So.
Oh, for sure.
Great to hear.
Well,
I
we really appreciate
guys.
it, man. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Those of you watching or listening, you know what time it is. Make sure you subscribe, follow along. Does any Solar Guard have anything coming out or anything that you want to?
TrueView safety film. New auto lineup maybe in midsummer coming out in SEMA.
Okay.
Those are kind of the major things this year, but
And making a return to the tin off.
yeah.
All
we
right.
will.
Awesome.
And we'll be. I'm assuming we can
I hope.
get sponsored by you guys.
I hope.
All right.
All right. Well,
All right.
Get you some new shirts.
or
Or add to them.
Yeah, we're doing new ones for
We're
sure.
getting some new ones. That's for certain.
We're
Well, you guys, like Josh said, you guys know how this works. Please subscribe, share, review. We really appreciate everything. This has been continues to be a fun ride, and we look to keep this going.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.